Hi, welcome back to my garden. And I should probably wish you a happy new year because I'm filming this on the 1st of January 2025. What a lovely sounding number that is. And, of course, it doesn't mean that I'll actually publish the film today. That depends on the vagaries of what might happen with our local family excitement. We have a lot of people out visiting, and at present, like millions of people in Brazil, spending the 1st of January in a crowded spot at the beach with boiling heat and slow service. Well, no thank you. But I'm sure they're going to have a wonderful time because they've been having a wonderful time with literally everything they're doing. So I thought I'd make a quick film. Whether this gets as far as actually being released is another matter. And I thought I'd make a quick film, but I didn't actually have anything planned. I don't want to talk about New Year's resolutions. Well, I'll maybe make a quick mention. It's the arbitrariness of it. We make up these numbers, and perhaps that is what I want to talk about. The arbitrariness of the numbers and how we somehow cling on to them, these dates and moments, and as if they give things a little bit more meaning. But I guess we need to, because that's what we're searching for, what we're trying to find, what we're trying to make sense of, what it's all about. And having a nice, neat line in the sand at the end of the year, well, that's jolly good. So there we have it. New Year's Day. A celebration of the passing of the year. Of course, it's all connected to the festive season and Christmas and all of that, I guess. But it is, by nature, fairly arbitrary. We could choose a different day, and indeed other cultures have different days, just that I live in one where the predominant calendar is this one, and that's what we make do with. And we work our life around. But it is an auspicious sort of number, 2025. If you're doing one of those annual plans, and a lot of people have been talking about that, along with all the chatter on the subject of New Year's resolutions and people spending the end of the year, when I say people, the sort of content creator crowd, busy with annual reviews, and then it's all about making a plan for the next year to be the best year of your life. And of course, that's a great thing to hope for, as impossible as it probably is, or meaningless. And a lot of these plans work around sort of quarterly reviews and targets. And from that point of view, 2025, well, we're coming up to the end of a quarterly review of this century, and how that's been going for you. And I find that just astonishing, the passage of time. Of course, we feel it differently as we get older. Some things seem to move more slowly, some things seem to move more quickly. There are events that we thought would never come around, and lo and behold, here they are. And if you can remember that far back, and obviously that depends in part on your age, you start seeing sort of interesting mirrors. So for me, if I go back more or less 25 years, 25 and a half, to when my parents left England and went to live in South Africa, I was 7. And for little old me, the the 7-year-old. The turn of the century, the year 2000, was incredibly far away. The stuff of science fiction. And yet, here we are, almost the same distance, the other side of that event horizon, that black hole of life imagined. And it's as incredible, I suppose, as we imagined it would be. One of the things I received in the deluge of email newsletters was this idea that we're 4 years past the start of the pandemic, and that was a sort of epoch-marking event. We're 2 years into practical AI sort of creeping into how we see the world. And there's no doubt that in not terribly much time in the future, that will have changed everything in an extraordinary sort of way. Rather like at the start of the new millennia, I had no concept of what life would be and the challenges posed by the sort of smartphone, social media era. It just wasn't a thing. I mean, the internet was there, but this computer in your pocket type of idea and the isolation, bizarrely, that it's created, well, that wasn't on my sort of menu of problems that needed to be dealt with. I remember when I started working in Sao Paulo, maybe I'll have got my dates a little bit wrong. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. The gist of it will be fairly true. Someone was talking about Friends Reunited, this website or thing. So I suppose that was in the early 2000s, and that would mean that Facebook wasn't, well, it wasn't a thing, or Instagram, or the algorithm, YouTube. None of that stuff was really part of how you were supposed to lead your life, or what you had to kind of factor in. And as I say, here we are. And I have been thinking about, well, setting little medium-term goals and evaluating a period of time. For me, of course, this festive season has been the celebration of my 10th wedding anniversary. I knew my wife almost 20 years ago, and living together, but we officially got married here in the northeast, just after we'd moved up. And so we celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary. It's a nice, convenient date to remember. I'm a little detail-oriented when it comes to those sort of dates. That's just how my mind works. But I proposed on, please excuse this if it sounds a little cheesy, but the 14th of February 2012. And we got married on the 28th of December 2014. And they just seemed like very nice numbers. 14 times 2 is 28. So it was a good way of remembering the dates. And the 14th of February is an easy one to get right in terms of a date of proposal. So it all worked together quite nicely. And we had a lovely time celebrating. It wasn't a huge party like the wedding. So huge. The wedding was maybe 80 people, and it was a great excuse for friends from Sao Paulo to come up and visit, and so it was a real gathering of the tribe. And one thing that has become clear to me is that that tribe that I felt so sort of intertwined with, well, people have gone their separate ways. And I have to say, in that regard, thank you, Facebook and Instagram, that at least I'm still slightly in touch with a lot of people. But to all intents and purposes, we've gone our separate ways, and now I'm a artist of the Northeast rather than a maths teacher of Sao Paulo, and a different person in a different place. So that's quite interesting. And in these 10 years, as I say, I feel like I have become an artist, and we have an art gallery, whereas before it was a large room with art in it, which we wanted to make into an art gallery. And we've sort of arrived in that regard. And what will the next 10 years bring? I don't know. I do know that the next video, which I will make next week, will be another exciting landmark. Not a 25, as in the year, but a 250, as in the episode of these garden ramblings. And of course I know that these dates are just arbitrary constructions. But sometimes that's what we need to try and make some sort of sense of things. And I think if we look at how the last 25 years have gone, the shifts, the progress, the advances in technology, it does make, depending on your leanings, glasses half full or empty, it does make the next few years potentially very exciting or terrifying, because we are on the cusp of enormous changes. So I've been doing a little bit of that sort of thinking, but without reaching any clear conclusion. I do know I would like to sort of tie things together and turn them into tidy up loose ends. My chess has been something that I've been circling around in different sorts of ways, but I'd like to make it more concrete, not just the fact that I'm trying to improve, but building something around that, a book, blogging, coaching, who knows, but building stuff around that personal journey. And now that we have the art gallery, I'd like this to develop into something boldly ambitious. Well, I have no idea what that really means yet. Although I take comfort in something that I read this week, and perhaps it's a good note to end on. And I didn't write down the quote or memorize it, so forgive me if you do know the actual quote. But it's something that great 20th century thinker Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey, Joseph Campbell said. And it goes something like this. If you see a clear path ahead of you, it is not yours. Someone else has laid it out for you. And that is a truly profound sort of insight, I think. If you're forging your own path, you might have a direction, sort of compass bearings. But if it is unique and original to you, you might have some ideas. Imagine roughly what it's going to look like. But it will be, by definition, new and potentially unimaginable. It'll be something that you discover, that unfolds before your eyes, a sort of a flower opening. I don't know, that sounds a little bit pretentiously poetic. Blame old year's night. And at least I made a video. And that's a good way to start the year. No resolutions, but I will carry on making these films, for better or worse. And as always, it'll be lovely to hear from you. So I guess that's just about it. I'm going to watch this to see if it makes any sense. And if it does, well then, I think I'll try and publish it. I guess the family's still at the beach. So, from a sunny Brazil, I'm wishing you all the very, very best joy, and may your dreams come true in 2025.